She walked into that room believing one thing about herself. She walked out questioning everything. And here's what nobody tells you about moments like that. The most dangerous lies are not the ones that sound evil, they are the ones that sound empowering. Today, I want to tell you about a woman named Anita, an ordinary woman who sat in a room full of applause and felt completely alone because something inside her kept saying, "This doesn't sound right." But here's a question I need you to sit with before we go any further. What if the very thing you were told sets you free is actually what's keeping you in chains? Stay with me, because the answer might surprise you, and it might change how you see everything. It started with an invitation. Anita's neighbor Rose had been talking about this Girl Power conference for weeks. Motivational, eye-opening, life-changing, that's how Rose described it. And Anita, with nothing else on her schedule that Saturday, thought, why not? She had no idea what she was walking into. The hall was packed, women of all ages, dressed sharp, energy buzzing, the kind of room that makes you feel like something important is about to happen. And then the speaker walked out, a woman in a bold blue dress, microphone in hand, confidence dripping off every syllable. Submission? No way. That is subjugation, not submission. The crowd roared. Women have what it takes to rule this world. We are more than what these men think we are. Here, girl, spread your wings and fly. More applause, standing ovation from the front row. Women around Anita were nodding, cheering, some even had tears in their eyes. But Anita sat completely still. Not because she hated the speaker, not because she thought women should have been respected or celebrated, but because something about these words felt hollow, like a beautiful box with nothing inside. She looked around at the cheering faces and thought, am I the only one who feels this way? That thought scared her, because what if she was wrong? What if everything she had been raised to believe about womanhood, about family, about the quiet strength of a submissive spirit was just a story someone told her to keep her small? She didn't walk out, she stayed, and she listened. And by the time it was over, she wasn't confused about the speaker, she was confused about herself. Here is the part of this story I really want you to pay attention to, because this is where most people make the biggest mistake of their lives. When you hear something that challenges what you believe, there are two ways to respond. The first way is to get angry and shut it down, build a wall and refuse to think about it. The second way, the more dangerous way, is to let it dissolve everything, without asking whether it was actually true. Anita didn't do either. She went home and did something most people would never do. She asked questions, but not just to anyone. And that is the detail that changes everything in the story. The walk home was quiet. The speaker's words kept replaying. Submission is subjugation. You don't owe anyone your surrender. You are enough, all on your own. And Anita thought, what about what Mama taught me? What about everything I've watched in real homes, real marriages, real families? Was all of that a performance? A cage disguised as love? She thought about the women in her life who submitted. Her mother, her grandmother, her aunt. They weren't vocal women. They weren't weak. In fact, they were some of the most dignified, most respected, most deeply loved women she had ever known. Women whose husbands honored them. Women whose children called them blessed. But maybe that was just luck. Maybe beneath the surface was a pain she couldn't see. Could it be, she asked herself quietly, that I have believed a lie all my life? The question hung in the air like smoke. And this is the thing about doubt. It doesn't arrive with a warning. It slips in through a door you opened yourself, wearing the face of progress, wearing the voice of liberation, and before you know it, you are standing in the middle of everything you built and wondering if any of it was real. Anita needed answers. Real answers, not applause, not slogans, not a woman in a blue dress with a microphone and a crowd. She needed her mother. What Mama said next, I want you to really hear it, because this is the part of the story that most people skip over, the part that gets buried under noise and hashtags and viral speeches. What Mama said didn't just answer Anita's question, it reframed the entire conversation. And once you hear it, once you truly understand the difference she was drawing, you will never hear the word submission the same way again. Mama was ready, almost as if she has been expecting this conversation, as if she had known somewhere in the back of her heart that this day would come. The day Anita would come home with fire in her eyes and questions on her tongue. She didn't panic, she didn't argue, she didn't dismiss the confess or mock the woman in the blue dress. She simply opened the scriptures. She read from 1 Peter about the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, about the woman who is not adorned with outward things, but with the hidden person of the heart. And then she says something that stopped Anita cold. Submission is not the absence of power, Anita. It is the mastery of it. She explained that there is a difference, a profound, essential difference between subjugation and submission. Subjugation is forced. It is fear. It is control through pain or threat. It breaks a person down and keeps them there. But submission, true submission, is a choice. It is a woman in full possession of her strength, her voice, her dignity, choosing to place herself within a covenant order, not because she is less, but because she understands that honor flows in a specific direction, and those who align with that direction receive something the world simply cannot give. The woman who submits to a worthy man is not beneath him, Mama said. She is beside him, and she is covered. She talked about how the world has taken a sacred concept and dragged it through every kind of humiliation, weaponized it as an excuse for abuse, for control, for cruelty, and then held up those examples as proof that submission itself was the problem. But that, she said, was like banning water because someone else drowned. The abuse of a thing does not define the thing. Anita sat quietly, absorbing every word. She thought about the speaker again, the passion, the applause, the tears in the audience. She thought about what the woman must have survived to carry that much anger. Beneath all the fire, Anita now saw something she had missed in the room. Pain. Old, unprocessed pain looking for a crowd to agree with it. And she understood then that not everyone who speaks loudly is speaking truth, and not every room full of applause is a room full of wisdom. Before we finish this story, I want to stop and ask you something honest. Has anyone in your life ever said something that shook your foundation? A teacher, a speaker, a viral video, something that made you question values you've carried for years? If that's you, if you're sitting with that kind of confusion right now, drop a yes in the comments, because I read those. And I want you to know this space is for real conversation, not just content. Also, if this story is already speaking to someone you know, share it with them right now, not later, right now. Because the people who need this most are not usually the ones that will ever search for it themselves. They prayed together. Something about that moment. Two women on their knees, not performing for an audience, not trying to prove anything. It felt more powerful to Anita than anything she had experienced in that conference hall. And when they were done, Mama held her daughter's hand and said, "Be careful who you listen to, dear Anita. There are not many sound doctrines out there. Protect your gates. Protect your gates." Those 3 words stayed with Anita long after she had gone to bed that night. Because a gate is not a wall. A wall keeps everything out. A gate is discerning. It lets in what is good and holds back what is not. And the ability to tell the difference, that is not fear. That is wisdom. In a world where every voice is louder than the last, where the most viral opinion is treated as the most truthful one, where a crowd's applause has become the new measure of what is right, the ability to sit still, feel the discomfort, go home and seek counsel from a source older and deeper than social media, that is a rare and precious thing. Anita didn't leave that conference angry. She left it grateful. Grateful for the confusion, because confusion, when you take it to the right place, becomes clarity. Grateful for the speaker, because sometimes it takes hearing the wrong voice very loudly before you can finally start listening to the right one. I'm grateful for her mother, who taught her not just what to believe, but how to think. She rested well that night, not because all her questions were answered, but because she knew where to take them. Here is what I want to leave you with. The feminist in the blue dress was not your enemy. She was a wounded woman with a microphone, and wounded people given the platform we always preach from their scars. But wounds are not wisdom. Passion is not proof. And volume, no matter how loud, is not the same as truth. The question this story asks each and every one of us is not, should women be respected? Of course they should. The question is, who taught you what respect looks like? Who defined it for you? And does that definition lead to peace, or does it lead you further from yourself? But submission that is chosen by a whole woman in a safe covenant is not weakness. It is a kind of love the world has forgotten how to honor. Guard your gates. If this video made you think, even for a moment, I want you to do one thing before you scroll away. Leave a comment telling me what value from your upbringing do you still hold on to, even when the world tells you it's outdated. I genuinely want to know. The comments turn into future videos. Your story might just be the one that helps someone else find their way home. And if you haven't subscribed yet, it is the kind of content I make. Real stories, real questions, real conversation. Hit subscribe. Come back for more. I'll see you in the next one.